So if you're a Marvel fan, you definitely know that the internet is going ablaze right now, because lo and behold, the factions of Sony and Marvel have finally come to an agreement on who the new Spider-Man should be. And as everyone predicted, it is going to be none other than Tom Holland! Yeah! 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 Yeah!
Yeah! Yeah!
I'll be honest, I don't know who the fuck this guy is. Now honestly, I wish I had a solid opinion on this guy, because I mean, I just don't know who he is. I haven't heard of him until today. Now, as to whether or not he's the right choice in terms of appearance, I mean, Marvel and Sony were basically looking for a high school lookalike of Peter Parker from the comics, and this guy basically fits the bill. I was shocked that he's 19 years old. I thought the fucker was 12. Like, holy shit. But he fits the bill. He looks like a young kid. And if that's the look that Marvel and Sony were going for, they hit the nail right on the head. Like, perfectly. Now, for certain, without a doubt, with this new lead, Amazing Spider-Man is done. That franchise is dead, done. It was done way before this announcement came out. But to hit that final nail on the head, Amazing Spider-Man franchise, over. And thank God. For those of you who are defending Amazing Spider-Man, no! Now, when I see people defending Amazing Spider-Man, they always have to bash Toby Maguire. Most of the time. At least for the people that I've heard. And let's just get one thing out of the way. Toby Maguire as Spider-Man in Sam Raimi's trilogy, he was phenomenal as Spider-Man. He played an amazing Spider-Man, he played a phenomenal Peter Parker, and he was just an overall great actor. I liked him. He was perfect. But you know, people who bash on Toby were always saying shit like, Toby is a pussy, he cries all the time, he has superpowers. The reason why Toby may have seemed like a pussy to some viewers is that he showed a human side to Spider-Man. Regardless of what his feats were as Spider-Man, defeating Green Goblin, Doc Ock, and that wannabe Venom, let's just face it, that wasn't Venom, that was a wannabe Venom. But regardless, the villains he's faced, regardless of all those feats, he's still human. He still has emotions. He still has a life outside of being a superhero. I believe Sam Raimi captured those moments beautifully. Phenomenal. By far, Spider-Man 2, oh my god, one of the best superhero films today. And by all means, debate me in the comments below and I will tell you why Spider-Man 2 is one of the best superhero movies ever created. But moving on from that, going into Andrew Garfield, to be fair, he is a great actor. Don't get me wrong. I mean, he knows how to act Spider-Man. He does the role phenomenally well. He's witty, he's a wise ass. He's an overall pretty good Spider-Man. Now, the problem that I had with Andrew Garfield was not necessarily his fault, but the writers of the Amazing Spider-Man franchise. They brought the wisecracking wit of Spider-Man and they placed it on Peter Parker as well. So whenever Spider-Man is basically beating the shit out of Lizard or Electro and he's, you know, being a smartass and cocky, the role fits well. But when he brings it into his Peter Parker life, it's awkward and annoying. Because first of all, that's not Peter Parker. Peter Parker is a nerdy, awkward, yet lovable character. Andrew Garfield failed to capture a Peter Parker that people actually liked. Because, I'll be honest, I hated Peter Parker in Amazing Spider-Man 2. And that's not Andrew Garfield's fault. That's the writers of fucking Sony. And not only that, just Amazing Spider-Man was just trying to rush its own world, rush its own lore, cramming as much context as they can in each installment of the movie. Like, you have no idea how many times characters in Amazing Spider-Man 2 would just give more and more exposition on the next installment of the movie. Like, it wasn't even its own story. It can't stand on its own. It's just a middle child to whatever Sony had planned for Amazing Spider-Man 3. Like, so much Sinister Six shit, so much Venom shit, so much Carnage shit, but the thing is, it's all in one movie. You can't do that. You can't try to rush lore this quickly. Look at the movies that Marvel has created. All of their lore is spread out across many movies, hinting at it from miles away, with seeds being planted for each concept in earlier movies so that they don't seem like an ass pull or being rushed in the later movies. Age of Ultron, for example. Ultron, I hated Ultron. Ultron was never mentioned previously in any other Marvel movies up until Age of Ultron, and that's why his lore felt rushed. Ultron is a badass in the comics. In the movie, he appeared and died in the same movie that he was the main villain of. So that is the problem that I had with Sony's Amazing Spider-Man franchise. I am glad that franchise is dead in the water. I'm glad the writers from Marvel or Sony, if they're collabing with each other, I'm glad that they at least have Marvel coming in to save them. So far what we know is that Marvel is resurrecting Spider-Man from its dead grave with what Sony did to it. However, Sony is allowed to pick and choose what Marvel can do in their franchise since Spider-Man is still owned by Sony. So I'm wondering if they actually both agreed to use Tom Holland. Because again, I don't know much about the actor, but I'm willing to give him a chance. Where Iron Man is the face of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Spider-Man is the face of the Marvel comic universe. And looking at Marvel's previous track record, I mean, their casting is phenomenal. Chris Pratt as Star-Lord, Mark Ruffalo as Hulk, and Tony Stark as Iron Man. You cannot ever see these characters again in a Marvel movie without these actors playing their respective role. Because it's literally like Marvel found the people that were born to play these roles. And since Marvel's hand is included with Sony's selection of Tom Holland as Spider-Man, I'm assuming they made the right choice. We have yet to see if it's gonna be the right choice, but I'm still willing to give them a chance because Marvel was involved with the casting. So by far, Toby Maguire, best overall representation of Spider-Man, which includes Peter Parker. If you don't agree with me, let me know why in the comments below. Worst overall Spider-Man representation, Andrew Garfield. As of now. Now, as to what Tom Holland will bring to the table, it's up in the air at the moment. So that's about it for the video. Let me know what you all think in the comments below. Are you guys excited that they got Tom Holland in as Spider-Man? Did you guys even know who Tom Holland was before they even announced this shit? And are you glad that the final nail in the coffin of the Amazing Spider-Man franchise is finally blasted into the fucking wood? Cause let's face it, this was a mess. A mess. Fucking mess! So if you enjoyed the video, if you could leave a like, I would greatly appreciate it. And if you haven't subscribed, I will love you forever, people. And as always, stay beautiful.